Welcome to your favorite program, Books and Nooks of Hope. This is a program where we discuss various books and try to understand how we can get these books, devour them, and enjoy the benefits that these books can bring to our lives. I am your host for this show, Pastor Philip Guy, and today on studio we have very special guests who have come from very far. First, I would want to introduce Pastor Mark Agui. Pastor Mark Agui comes to us from Eldoret, where he serves as a publishing director. He has been dealing with books for many years. Pastor Mark, can you greet our viewer?
Hello, viewer.
Thank you. And so next we have our sister Elizabeth Koech, who is a veteran literature evangelist, very successful in her ministry. She has done a lot. The Lord has used her to sell books like leaves of autumn throughout Eldoret and even beyond. Elizabeth, can you greet our viewer?
Hello, viewer, and welcome.
Thank you so much. Maybe I could just ask Pastor Mark, before you got into this literature ministry, what did you do before? What else did you do in your life before you got into this kind of ministry?
Yeah, thank you, Pastor. My life is very interesting because way back while I was still in school, I think that was from 3, is when I learned about the literature ministry. And not only that.
Yes.
Way back 1976, while I was still a young boy, my mom used to teach me, and we could read storybooks.
Wow.
Story Time in Africa, it was just volume 1. And we could read until I loved about books. Okay. And in every camp meetings, we used to go with my grandmom. And she used to take me to the table and could ask a literature evangelist, what is the best book for this young boy?
Wow.
And that is where I began loving books. And by the time, that was when I was in Form 3, I decided now to become a literature evangelist.
And that reminds me about this biblical character, Timothy, who was brought into the faith by his grandmother and mother, Lois and Eunice. It's a very inspiring story, Mark.
Very inspiring. I have some books that I still remember even the cost. Like in Kiswahili, Je Tumfuate, Maendeleo Africa.
Wow, those are very old books.
Very old books. Wakati Ujao Je.
Thank you so much. Sister Elizabeth, when did you join this ministry and how has it been a blessing to you since then up until now?
I joined literature ministry in the year 2015.
In 2015.
Yeah, but the call I received way back 1997 when I was in class 7.
Class 7?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was during a camp meeting. A pastor from Mombasa, Paul Mnene, was so good teaching, and there was a literature evangelist called Jacqueline Andisi from Kitale. Then I could just admire her.
Okay.
And then pastor called me and prayed for me, say that will you be a literature evangelist when you grow up? And I said yes.
How old were you back then?
Class 7.
Class 7.
Yeah.
And the pastor calls you and asks you if you would be a literature evangelist.
I even wondered why he wanted me to be a literature evangelist. And yes, I admired literature evangelists, but I didn't want to be one. But yes, God's call stands. It stands.
Thank you. Yeah. Pastor Mark, I know when you go out there in this ministry, you meet a lot of people with health challenges. And today we just want to focus on one of the health books. What are some of the health challenges that you meet out there and people are struggling with these health issues?
Yeah, Pastor, I want to say the world is really sick.
The world is sick.
And really we have many people who are suffering from different kinds of ailment. Begin with flu, come with diabetes, cancer, pressure, disorders of the mind.
Okay.
There are a lot of challenges in the world today.
Sure.
And as we go through, that is the first book that when I joined the ministry in the year 1996, is Health at its Best.
Health at its Best.
Health at its Best. I still have the copy after today.
Yeah, and you're saying the world is sick.
The world is really sick. But much of the sicknesses comes just because of not knowing what is the cause. We've been fighting the disease, but not knowing
You don't know what has
what
caused.
is actually the cause.
Okay.
That is actually the major things. Two, health is education. It is not treatment. Yeah, so you need to know about your health.
So the most important thing is education.
Yes, education.
About you need to be conscious of the state of your health.
And secondly, many people know how to use their phones and their cars. Even when you ignite your car, you can sense that there is a problem.
Yes.
But we don't know about our bodies. How we are fearfully and wonderfully made.
Wow.
If I may ask you, Pastor Guy, how many bones do you have?
Bones, I don't know.
You don't know?
Ask me about my car.
So we have 206 bones.
206 bones.
Yes.
In my body.
In your body.
Wow.
Now, all those capillaries, like veins, valves, and all the rest, anything that transport blood, if it can be put in one line, how many kilometers do you think it goes?
I don't know.
It is 95,600 kilometers.
95,600 kilometers. Those are all my capillaries put together.
Put together. That's a distance. So
that is awesome.
Yeah. So if you can know how your body works, then you really support your body.
Yes.
It is so amazing.
Very important. Now, Sister Koech, Eldoret, where you come from, I see so many hospitals there. Medihill, the Eldoret Referral Hospital. If one gets sick and you are admitted into some of these hospitals with some of these diseases, Pastor is talking about cancer, diabetes, how much do you think it would cost to gain, good health, back from diabetes, back from cancer? How much do you think could one spend in average?
In Eldoret, we own a lot of land.
Yes.
Big lands. We normally sell lands for our health. It's quite expensive.
It's expensive.
It's expensive.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
You'll spend millions.
Millions of money.
Just in order to gain back your health.
Yeah.
So health is wealth.
Health is
Health
wealth.
We really need to take care of our health.
Like even at this time, we have a fundraising of a patient who has been in the hospital for almost 2 months. And the bill is 6 million.
6 million?
Yes.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of
6
money.
million.
What if we knew what is the cause of this disease and prevented them? Do you think that would be a little bit cheaper,
Very
easier
cheap.
for us?
And much of the diseases, Pastor Guy, is totally associated to the mental. How we relate and how we think about.
It begins from the mind.
It begins from the mind. Because it says that the body has a well-defined structure and coordination, right from the mind to the other part of the body.
Okay.
So much of the diseases comes just because of how our mind and how we relate to one another and what we eat and what we drink.
So, Elizabeth, what book have you brought to us in studio today, and why is it that important to us?
Health by Nature is the book we're bringing here today. Health by Nature. The reason we're bringing Health by Nature is because health is, definition of health, is information plus some little changes is equals to health.
Information plus a little changes brings me back to health.
Yes, yes.
Pastor Mark, why is this so important to us?
Yeah, health is this book called Health by Nature. I began by saying that when God created us, with all those structures and with all the systems and the tissues that we have, naturally, the body is designed to heal itself.
Naturally, the body is designed to heal itself. Tell us a little more about that, Pastor.
Yeah, so that's why you can see, because of that well-organized structures, the body has a continual renewal. It renews itself every now and then. Pastor Guy, it will take only 120 days. Then the blood system, all the blood in your body will be totally replenished. So in 120 days, your blood is totally new.
I get new blood.
New blood. Secondly, this body of ours is also having that, what we call self-healing.
Self-healing.
Yes, if you are cut, then if you are injured, if the bones are fractured, if also the tissues are actually worn out, it is in a position to heal itself. If sometimes people even get poison, it is in a position to heal itself.
You know
so, if we can support how about our body works, definitely we can not go to any hospital. If we really support how...
So ours is to support the body's natural healing mechanism.
Natural healing. And that is why this book is really giving us the first thing that we really need to know.
Which is what?
How our body works naturally. Then number 2, the plans that God gave us, every plans that exist by the word of God. So as it exists, it has the healing power.
Okay.
Yes.
So we need to know the natural healing remedies and support our natural healing remedies within the body, and also make use of God-given plants that have this natural healing. I think, Elizabeth, if we knew a little bit about that, we would not get into a situation of selling land in order to gain back our health.
Yes.
Because it is the land that is so resourceful to us.
Yes.
Because of the nature we have in these lands. Back in Eldoret, we have the natural trees. The exotic ones, all the natural trees. And this, when we embrace the nature, as Pastor is saying, that we need to support our bodies. Supporting our bodies means when we understand our bodies and then we take the nature, the natural plants that we have, the nature, water, that is water, the nature. We have water.
We have water. What else do we have?
Air.
Air.
Sunlight.
Sunlight.
The nutrition, the vegetation, all these when we embrace are a healing in our bodies.
Okay, so we are talking about these natural healing remedies.
Yes.
These are the ones that Healthy by Nature is discussing.
Nature is discussing, called what we call hydrotherapy.
I see hydrotherapy. That is water that she was talking
water
about.
she was talking.
What else do we have there?
Now, in that we have what we call thermal action, and also we have medical action. Now, thermal action is the use of hot and cold water.
The use of hot and cold water.
Yes, that actually triggers the body to raise up its senses to react and respond on a particular problem that has. Like, for example, when there is a low pressure, then you can trigger your body to come back to its sense by just putting on warm water and cloth. That's what we call foot bath.
Foot bath.
Yes.
Wow, that is awesome. And
yes.
by the use of that hydrotherapy, we can resuscitate the body's natural healing remedies by itself.
Yes.
What else do we have in that book that will help us heal naturally?
We have what we call geotherapy.
Geotherapy. And what's that?
The geotherapy is healing through the earth.
This earth?
Yes, this earth.
How does the earth heal?
Now, let me just give you a story why this doctor, the author of this book, says that while he was still in prison, long time ago, during the Second World War, you know, those prisoners who are there suffered and they could not get any disease.
Yes.
Some of them get infections and they could diarrhea. But this doctor, Shaina, used to treat those, he was also a prisoner, but he used Hepo to treat people who are suffering from that problem. And in the year 1852, to 19, this is a man who lived in the year 1852.
That's during the Second World War period. Yes.
He discovered after a certain woman was exhumed, after being buried for quite a number of years. But when she was exhumed, everything was intact. The cloth was still untorn. His body was still fresh. And they could learn, oh, this soil cannot, the bacteria, the viruses and the fungus cannot really affect. So it seems it has a power to protect bacteria.
Wow, thank you so much.
And that is where in 1888, the person who was suffering from gangrene abscess, his leg was to be amputated. But the man says that let me just try to do what we call an experiment. And he applied that kind of a soil to that particular person, and the healing started immediately.
And that's what you call geotherapy.
Geotherapy.
Thank you so much, Pastor Mark Agui and Sister Elizabeth. This is Books and Nooks. We're going for a short break, and when you come back from the break, Sister Elizabeth and Mark Agui will tell us more about this Healthy by Nature as we explore the benefits that we can get out of this book. Thank you. Don't go away. Stay right there. Welcome back to the program Books and Nooks of Hope. And on studio today we have Pastor Mark Agui and Sister Elizabeth Koech as they explore the book Healthy by Nature. And just before we went for the short break, Pastor Mark Agui was telling us about geotherapy and how this doctor was able to treat out of just soil, and a foot that was supposed to be amputated was no longer amputated. Now coming back to you, Sister Elizabeth, we were talking about these natural remedies, and one of those that we talked about is dietotherapy. Could you tell us a little bit more about this dietotherapy?
Yes, in dietotherapy, these are the foods we eat.
Yes.
The simple diets, the natural diets that we need to go back to Eden. Now, comparing with what we eat, foods in 21st century,
yes,
and going back to Eden is totally a contrast. It's a contrast. What we need to do now is to go back to nature, the natural food, eating raw food, the power of the raw food in our bodies. I want to talk about the sprouts.
Sprouts.
Sprouts. Sprouts are living food. When we eat living food, our bodies become life, living. Now, when we talk about the natural food and the dietotherapy is when we introduce this to your system. Our system needs to be cleansed by the natural diet.
Yes.
Taking natural food, for example,
You talked about sprouts.
Yes.
I just don't know whether these are palatable. Some people say these natural foods that you're talking about, they're not so sweet, they're not as exciting. So they kind of prefer to go to the exotic foods, which you are telling us are not very helpful and not very, beneficial to our bodies. What do you think about that?
Natural foods are sweet and palatable, especially the sprouts, because the sprouts, sometimes, people, when you train your tongue to eat sweet things, you will still go back to the medicine. The medicines are not sweet.
You see, look at that.
Yeah, I want to
so it's a
go
matter
to the
of training your tongue.
Yeah, train your tongue to eat the palatable foods in the nature.
Yes.
Now, the sprouts are let's use an example of the green grams.
Green grams, yes.
When they sprout, they start growing. They have the substance of it's already been digested outside here, so that the digestion inside will be so easy in that it has been digested before you start eating.
Wow, that's interesting.
Now, when you eat, it will be easy for a digestion. People have digestive problems.
Yes.
And for you to help your digestive system, you need to eat things that are
already started being digested. That's interesting.
Even the foods
I wish we had a lot of time, Elizabeth, to go deep into that. But allow me to get back to Pastor Mark Agui to tell us a little bit more about this positive mental attitude. How important is this in terms of our health?
Yeah, Dr. Skinner has really written about how the positive can affect our physical health.
Yes.
The whole system, according to Dr. has written in this book, says that the body and the mind is so much related that once the other one is affected, the other sympathizes. So, if one receives a bad news, like for example, you've heard that the closest friend you are together is positive.
HIV positive?
No, is COVID positive.
Oh, okay.
That thing automatically will affect you.
I'll definitely be affected.
Yes, and when it affects you, there is also the power of believing and having that kind of a situation whereby you thought you are also infected. So what happened is that if you cannot be positive that I'm going to come out of this place, then when one go to sleep, you lose what we call sleep. You will also lose what we call a diet, appetite to eat.
Okay.
Why? Because you feel to become disturbed.
Because your mind is
so,
disturbed.
and then the other thing is that the coordination. The mind is so much complex that everything that works in our body is actually centralized in the mind.
It affects the mind.
Yeah, that's why we have pituitary glands, we have the other glands. So according to the doctor, it has said that if we have a positive mind and a good attitudes, definitely it is going to make us come out of the situation.
Okay.
Yes.
Sister Elizabeth, you're talking to us about diets. But there are some other things that the doctor talks about called toxic substances. What are some of these toxic substances and how can we avoid them so that we can get the natural, healthy diet that you had talked about a little earlier?
Our bodies naturally produces free radicals, and these are toxic substances.
Yes.
We need antioxidants so that they can attack the
Those
free radicals that are produced in our bodies.
Back to you again, Sister Elizabeth. Earlier on, you had talked to us about dietotherapy and how we can benefit from, enjoying natural foods. But let me ask you, what are, Dr. Snyder talks about these toxic substances that probably we also need to avoid. Could you please tell us a little bit more about these toxic substances? There
are so many toxic substances, especially now in 21st century. For example, the marijuana, commonly known as the weed. We have alcohol, cigarettes, and all these. In the book, I can tell you that it is good to abstain from all this.
Okay.
And if you can abstain, now there are people who are already addicted, and they need, and I'm telling them abstain. Now, I want to help these people be able to abstain from these toxic substances.
Yes.
From the nature, just embracing the nature. I'm going back to the diet. In the diet, we have a substance called antioxidants. Antioxidants is produced by the red pigmentation in our foods. For example, watermelon, tomato. All these produce beetroot, name them, and these produce antioxidants that will attack the negative substance that are in the body already. Now, these people we need to do a detox to wash the system.
Yes.
So that this system, when it is cleansed, the urge, the desire, will be lost.
Eliminated.
Yeah,
so
will be eliminated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Pastor Mark, you can add a little more about
I want to say also, Dr. Sena has really given us a 5-day plan on how to stop smoking.
5-day plan to stop smoking.
Yes. So day one, it shows that what you need is just drink plenty of water.
Plenty of water.
Eat a lot of vegetables. As you eat also, immediately after every meal, you should not sit down, but just walk around.
Okay.
So it has really given us a way out on that. The other thing also that I would like not to forget is that we have a natural treatment as by this book that is trying to give us, and we want to make all our viewers to know that if you can know what doctor has really given out, the natural ways on how we can make a treatment, just as simple remedies. Like for example, somebody having maybe a poison.
Someone has been poisoned.
Someone has been poisoned. What is the best way on how you can get a treatment on that? He has given out that you can just use a charcoal, and then you give that person a charcoal, and then it absorbs all the poisons. These are some of the issues. Sometimes we lose a person without having that knowledge. But the book here has given us how you can have that natural remedies.
I see, Doctor, they are talking about several diseases like the eyes, the ears, nose, and throat, disorders. And skin disorders.
Yes.
So, Elizabeth, could you just elaborate some of the natural remedies to some of these diseases so that we don't have to spend lots of money at the hospitals in Eldoret or many other places when we have natural remedies just close by us?
Yes, like using carrots. Spinach, the proper combination of them will heal your eyes. Yeah.
How do you go about that? I'm tired of putting on these specs. I'd love my eyes to be healed.
Eating plenty of them, cooking carrots, we have a substance inside the carrot called beta carotene. Beta carotene, when it is cooked, it will not be lost. So the more you cook it, you can even take it as soup, but so long as you're embracing the nature, that is healing to your eyes.
You know what, I'm going to eat carrots this evening. Pastor, you talked about the circulation,
yes,
of blood in our vessels, and you know, you surprised me at the length of the veins that are in my body. Tell us what Dr. Shina says about this circulation.
In fact, when we talk about the circulatory disorders,
yes,
we have the arteries. When you reduce the amount of food that contribute to cholesterols, then your blood system now will be flowing without any obstacle. It has also talks about cardiovascular, that is like a stroke.
Yes, yes.
It has also given how one can really manage to heart by diet, and at the same time also, if in case you are found in such a situation, what do you need to take so that at least
you remedy the situation?
Yeah, you remedy the situation. He has really highlighted how to. High blood pressure, we need to have a lot of exercise, reduce the amount of salt, and also reduce amount of being anxiety. That anxiousness that sometimes can arise and become so much nervous. He has really highlighted how we can make use of our, and this is actually costing. When we go on the other way around, it is really costing. But these are the simple remedies that when we use, he has really highlighted for us.
You know, I admire you people. You have a wealth of knowledge about so many diseases. You know, someone looks at you and thinks that you are senior doctors who have come from these medical institutions, and yet you have these simple, natural remedies that can make our health to be much, much better. Tell me about allergies. You know, today people complain about allergies and it affects them in one way or another. What does Healthy by Nature tell us about allergies? Allergies, I'll start from you, Elizabeth, and come to you, Mark, as we move towards a close.
Allergies, these are reactions on food. But when we look at the Healthy by Nature book, Dr. Ernest is telling us that when no one is allergic to nature. We can all be allergic to animal products.
Yes.
We can be allergic to so many other things, but mostly we are not allergic to nature. When we embrace nature, then we suppress the allergy. Yeah.
Okay, Pastor Mark.
Yeah, I want also to say that allergy, as she has said, is that body reaction to something that is acting contrary to your body. So the body is trying to repel out. And that is why sometimes when you use a lot of sign of a sensitive, maybe oil and perfumes, every now and then it arouses the nasal reaction. Yeah, it triggers the reaction. So as the body tries to spell it out, when you persist on that, then there is what we call the growth of abnormal cells, which comes as a result of what? Allergy now.
Okay.
So that's why doctor here has given out that there is what we call a systematic application on how we can apply exercise, water, sunrise, air, and then natural diets, positive mind,
to take
and then
away
out of that, we are off from these allergies.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, dear viewer. You've been watching Books and Nooks of Hope, and today on studio we have had Pastor Mark Agui and Sister Elizabeth Koech. They've been here telling us about this book by Dr. Ernest Shina called Healthy by Nature, and they've actually expounded on many issues that would help us save a lot of medical expenses just by sticking to the natural remedies that have proved to be efficient and effective. Thank you for staying with us. Looking forward to seeing you in another episode of Books and Nooks of Hope.